Today I would like to talk a little bit more about the understanding that happiness is an inside job. And in my last short video, we talked about happiness as an emotional state, which we tend to experience when things go well in our lives, when we get validated, when we feel loved, when things go in the right direction, and that we tend to feel bad when things go bad, which makes us vulnerable to almost become the victim of our external circumstances. And the alternative is to create happiness from the inside out, which also, by the way, takes off a lot of expectation, burden, and demand from maybe our partners, our children, who we expect to be in a certain way so that we can be happy. So happiness from the inside out is often, it's often equated with a sense of fulfillment, peace of mind, acceptance, kindness, forgiveness, understanding, and a way of being that can cultivate and generate happiness from the inside out. I would almost describe like a very rich, intricate tapestry with many strands to it. And in order to develop this kind of way of being, we need to understand the different strands. And one of the qualities that permeate the whole rich tapestry is what I'd call self-awareness. Self-awareness is a quality that we can cultivate and develop, which allows us to become the observer and witness of our mental activity, so that we can observe, identify, recognize our current thought patterns that are often self-limiting and undermining us instead of actually supporting us. So the quality of introspection, paying attention to our mental activity is a very important part of this rich tapestry, of this way of being. So we want to become aware of our current mindset, which is made up of our thoughts, our belief systems, the way we manage our feelings, and evolve that into a way of being that is much kinder, more accepting, more supportive, more encouraging, more generous, less judgmental and blaming. So there is the self-awareness, and the second very important strand and quality of this mindset is kindness. How can we cultivate inner kindness to ourselves? And I give you a few ideas. The first one is actually to cultivate introspection, to actually pay attention to our inner life, which in itself is an act of kindness. It's being like a good parent who is interested in the child's experience. So introspection, cultivating self-awareness. And the second important part of developing kindness and generosity to ourselves is actually to develop a mind that is curious, that is inquisitive, that is non-judgmental and non-blaming of ourselves. So let's say if we go on this inner journey of developing curiosity and becoming more aware of our thoughts and feelings, we very likely come across parts of our mind that have been very unhelpful and mean to us, and that has caused a lot of suffering. And that can be quite upsetting when we actually discover and become more aware of how we have been treating ourselves, how we may have been abandoning and betraying ourselves. And even that, or especially those feelings, also need to be met with kindness, with understanding, not with blame, but with an accepting, non-judgmental response. We want to meet whatever we find in our minds, and whether that is a very undermining belief system, whether these are feelings of anger, of grief, of sadness, frustration, of loss. We want to be able to meet what we find within our minds and in our hearts with kindness, with gentleness, with care, and with a supportive, encouraging mindset. So that in itself, I think, is a big part of the work, to develop self-awareness, and then when we are on the journey of witnessing and observing our inner life, to meet everything we find with acceptance, with warmth, with kindness, with wanting to support and not judging.